Is it filming?
It is filming.
I'm really scared today.
Why are you really scared today?
I'm not really scared today. I'm just feeling a bit quiet. Is it
Well,
all?
that's good. Good day to record a podcast. How have you been?
Fine, thanks.
Any major life updates you would like to tell everyone about?
No.
I've got one. EMDR.
Oh, yeah. I haven't started yet, but I am starting on the 29th of May. Round of applause. I'm starting... Sorry, if you hear this, it's just my stress toy. My unbreakable stress toy that I broke in 24 hours.
If that doesn't say grief, I don't know what does.
Exactly.
I also broke one the other day.
How?
Squeezing so hard. Must have been anxious. The
Exploded.
indestructible ones aren't indestructible for grievers.
No.
Stress toys just get thrown around.
EMDR, also another stress relief thing.
Alicia put that submission out.
Oh, it's so nice.
Oh my God, I was reading the comments that I was going to cry and die. And
Everyone was so nice. I got so many.
Yeah.
And I literally, it was so nice. Everyone was so honest and generous and lovely. And it was so nice of everyone to say what they've been through and like their experiences with it and stuff. It really helped me feel like reassured that it was going to be all right and like that it really can change things.
It's a really interesting practice. Like I was talking to my friend who has it done and I've never had anything like it.
No, me either. I'm skeptical. I'm not skeptical because I've heard so many good things, but it's just like, how is this gonna help what's in my brain? Like it seems like too good to be true almost. Mm-hmm. It's not like a quick fix and it's done. It's just like it will just hopefully teach me a lot about accepting and like seeing my traumas in a new way, which is something that I need to do.
Do you want to explain a bit about what it is?
Well,
in case people don't know, because I didn't know what it was.
It's hard because I don't particularly know yet. I feel like I don't want to give misinformation, but what I do know is that it's there are many different ways of it that I didn't actually know about. I thought it was just light reaction trauma therapy, and where basically what I've heard is that you look at the therapist's hands or like fingers as they you follow their finger with your eyes and then they flash lights in your eyes whilst you're talking about the trauma or something like that. And
my friend said that hers was like to do with clicks.
Yeah,
so
someone said that as well.
Audio
yeah
triggers, I guess.
Yeah, someone else said that they do it online, so they do it with noise.
Yeah. So interesting.
But it is really interesting. It's just like a way to rewire your brain so that it responds to your trauma in a different way.
I feel like we've completely butchered the explanation.
Yeah, I completely have.
But no, yours was good. I feel like I'm really excited to learn more about it.
Yeah, same. That's all I really know. I've just heard from like the early days of my grief, I remember people saying like, if you could try EMDR, just try it. So like that's the thing. Like I don't know completely what it is, but I've heard so many good things, and it's something that I want to try.
Yeah, 100%.
It is scary. What I have learned, thank you. What I have learned is apparently it wipes you out. Exhaustion, yeah, which I didn't particularly know.
I guess it's just like going all the way back to those memories.
Yeah,
like the ones you don't want to listen.
Root.
Yeah, it's really exhausting.
Yeah.
Something you haven't done.
And because your brain's working all the time because it's processing the flashes, it's following the fingers, and it's talking. It's like doing like so many things at once.
Yeah.
But I also I'm skeptical whether my ADHD symptoms are going to get in the way of my ability to focus on it, which I'm kind of worried about. So if anyone has any advice specifically about ADHD or like lack of focus and EMDR, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't think I can stare at someone's fingers for an hour without like going mental.
Well, my friend said her advice was to like make sure you're as comfortable as possible. So like wear really comfy clothes, bring something like that. Love egg.
Don't call it that. It's not a love egg. It's a stim toy.
Alicia's housemate. I
My
should
housemate.
be offended if I said that.
My official
Our best
housemate.
friend in the whole world.
Yeah.
Walked into Alicia's room with her stress toy on a pillow and thought it was a
in my hand like this.
love egg.
Fucked myself to sleep, mate.
Alicia!
Sorry.
Anyway,
Moving
back to what we were just talking about, I realised that I've had about 6 or 7 assessments this year alone for therapy.
That's good.
No, it's not
record.
good.
No, it's good that you're persisting.
I'm persisting, yeah, but it's because I've got no other fucking choice, mate. But today's was extremely memorable.
Yeah, I haven't actually asked. I didn't even ask you.
She doesn't give a fuck about me. I have found a private therapist, which I'm just going to pay for.
Brilliant.
But I wanted to keep the I've been waiting 2 years for this NHS person. What, a year and a half?
Yeah, it's honestly.
NHS therapy.
Tumbleweed, mate.
Yeah, and I got allocated somebody, and I asked for like bereavement counselling, and they gave me CBT. No offence to the people working there, I know it's extremely stressful, but 4 sessions in, I was reading poems about, it was like, today's going to be the worst day ever. I have no strength inside me to get through the day. And then she was like, read it backwards. So I read it backwards, and it was like, today is going to be a great day. I have all it takes inside me. Anyway, 4 weeks of that, I was like, sorry, are we going to get into like grief or like bereavement? And she was like, oh, I'm not a bereavement counsellor. And I was like, oh, I've waited a year and a half.
That is so ridiculous. That is so and that's why so many people get put off by doing therapy.
Yeah.
Because the NHS system, bless its heart, is absolutely not equipped, and it's just everyone falls through it, mate.
Yeah,
there's nothing. I don't know why I keep saying mate at the moment.
Mate.
Mate.
Yes, but I had another assessment with the person she passed me on to, because I basically dumped my therapist for that. And today, this was the memorable one. I had to listen for the first time. I don't know if you've had this before, where she read my entire existing record. So she was like, oh, this is what it was like from the last therapist.
That is going to be good.
And I was like, oh, she's reading out the whole of my life.
All of it.
Step by step, all the traumatic things, every single piece of detail. It was like, okay, so, and she said, read it how it was written down. So it was like, Amy lost her mum due to blah in this time. Amy lost her best friend due to this. Now, actually, it was very explicit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then
exactly
Alicia lost her best friend to this.
What the fuck?
And then Alicia did this. And then Amy did this. And then, and it was like, Amy smokes hash at the weekend to reduce her stress. Amy's mum died. Like, it was just like, Amy goes to the park
3 times a day.
3 times a day for her mental health. Amy hit her head on a fridge, but then she went to the park.
What's that got to do with anything? Amy hit her head on the fridge and then went to the park. That's so you as well. Amy. What? Go on, you say.
No,
you were going to come out to it then?
I wasn't.
Okay. Did it hit home at all? Did you completely dissociate? Or did you think, because you always talk about your trauma as if it's not you.
Yeah.
So when you heard it back like that, did it make you think?
I blacked out.
Yeah. That's that naturally. Right on cue.
I was like walking around the office, like picking every bit of rubbish up off the floor, like every little clipping.
I do that.
Around the office on the phone. Yeah. Yeah. Because every time she said, like, Amy did this. Amy's someone did this to her. And it was like, is that right? And I go, yeah. Amy. So yeah, that was very traumatic today. And I like put the phone down and I was just like, I was twitching.
I
was like, somewhat like that is the most surreal thing. Like if anyone's had this happen to them, like somebody reading out step by step, like every traumatic thing that's ever happened to you that you've said like over a course of like therapy, like has been pulled out from each session.
That's insane.
And then they just read it out like for me to confirm it. And she was just so funny, like, bless her, she was just doing a job, but it's just so funny to say something like the worst sentence ever and go, is that right?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, moral of the story, not the moral of the story, point of the story is that I'm going to just pull every single coin out of my pockets and probably, you know, not buy any nice new clothes for a while to pay for this private therapist because I seriously can't go back on that sort of phone call.
Was that NHS?
Is that right?
Oh, that's horrible.
Right? Is that right? So, that's not how she spoke, but you can...
That's really rude.
Comedic.
I'm sorry for laughing.
At what? Amy hit her head on the fridge, smoked a bit of hash at the weekend recreationally.
No, that's funny.
It was like, it says here you never get drunk. Is that
right?
I was like,
No, that's not
no,
right.
that's not right. Don't know what bitch said that, but it weren't me.
She was lying.
She was lying.
I feel crazy today.
Same.
I feel crazy.
Yeah.
I've been watching Love Triangle at the moment.
Oh my God, I was watching that.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I fell asleep.
Yeah.
But
that's about right.
what are you going to say about Love Triangle?
I don't know. I feel like grief's in there somewhere.
Oh, so you mean like grief affecting relationships, like you couldn't share?
Sorry, I would like to cut this out. I don't know what that has to do with grief. I just wanted to. I'm watching Love Triangle at the moment.
It's not that type of podcast.
Stop tickling me.
I need to stretch my leg
Look at
out.
my socks this week.
Oh no. Alicia socks this
This one
week.
goes all the way up here.
You know, if anyone's listened to the last episode, it says
Y'all
about...
already know what's
You
about to
already
happen. Send me some.
They're not that
Love,
fluffy though.
mate.
There's no slots on
They're
them.
not that fluffy, but they're mismatched. The last two
They're the
pairs in my
ugliest fucking
drawer.
socks I've ever seen.
Yeah, and they're horrible, horrible, horrible.
So what are we going to do to avoid a griefy bee?
Can I lay like this?
I don't know. Can you? Looks
I'll
like...
have a wash. No, do a wash. I'll do a wash next week tomorrow.
What else are you going to do to avoid a griefy bee?
I like to go for walks at the moment. I love walkies at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I love this because I've been waiting my whole life for Alicia to realise the power of a mental health walk. I have about 3 a day.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like a rabid dog that needs to go outside. I'm like...
You're so funny because you literally, you go to that park and you're like, oh. And I'm like, you go here every single day, 3 times a day. And you're like, yeah, but when you come here often, you start noticing like the different trees and stuff. And it's like, you have gone mental.
Where's my necklace gone?
What are you doing?
I
Shakira.
don't really know the details. I've lost my necklace.
You haven't. It must just be under your top. It's fallen off. Have I choked? It's behind you.
That's what they're all saying. It's behind you.
Ooh. Ooh.
God.
That's so funny because we were looking and they could see it. It's
Should we
like
talk
Panta.
about grief yet? I don't
want to. I don't want
We want to do everything apart from talk about grief this week,
Oh,
apparently. Love
sick
triangle.
of it, mate.
Yeah.
Sick of it.
Anyway, to avoid a griefy bee, we're going to share with you our top tips. Alicia's already mentioned that she likes to go for walks. Now,
Yeah, I do. And you know what? For a very long time,
I
thought I just avoided everything superficial because I was like, oh, boring. Like, go for a walk or take a shower because I was like, the doctors just can't be arsed listening to me, so they just tell me that so they could move on to the next appointment.
But it's real.
But it's real.
What's your favourite saying you used to say to me? Never underestimate the power of a shower.
However, my boiler has been broken, which wasn't good.
And she actually got locked inside her flat and couldn't get out the door. So she couldn't go for a walk for her mental health, and she couldn't have a power shower for her mental health. And that's why she's got those socks on.
But walking in the park is so lovely. But a lot of the time, because it's quite a family park, the one nearby, isn't it? So it's like, you know.
Yeah, you've got to be in the
Treading
right.
on
Or bring your
eggshells.
darkest sunglasses
Yeah.
and your eye mask.
I don't hide crying in public. I wail.
Yeah.
I fall to the ground. Wail.
I've got a good story.
Yeah, me too.
We were in a cafe the other day. I'll let you take the floor, Alicia. It's your trauma.
Oh, Alicia. Okay, so it's your trauma. So I was crying in a cafe. I love doing that at the moment.
What's new?
Oh my God, an angel sent from heaven pulled up her car, literally pulled up her car,
Yeah.
kids in the back, stopped their journey, don't care if you're late for school, kids.
Yeah.
She got out the car, came over, bent down to my level, and I was like, you're already an angel sent from heaven. And she wiped my tears, and she said, did you serve me at work the other day? And I was like, yeah, I did serve you at work the other day. And she was like, she wiped my tears and she gave me a Chew-It cola flavour. Love those.
My favourite flavour.
Yeah, love those. And she said, don't cry. And so we cried loads after that. Amy burst into tears.
Yeah. I was just looking at that.
And then she just got back in the car
drove off.
and drove off.
And then,
10
seconds later,
yeah, the worker comes out with a bloody vegan marble cake. And she puts it down. She puts it down on the table and says, "Everyone needs a sweet treat sometimes to cheer them up, don't they?" And I said, "Yeah, they do." And I cried more. And you know what? I used to make marble cake when I was little. Haven't had it since. Makes you think, huh?
It makes you think.
Those fleeting moments with strangers.
I'm gonna go Joker mode, aren't I?
Yeah, it's come in.
I've not had a Joker mode on the podcast.
I would beg to differ. I'm not sure. You go
On the podcast.
on the actual
On the actual podcast, I've not had Joker mode.
No, I don't know if you have.
So Joker mode, for anyone who doesn't know, is a condition. It's a state that I get into. And I think it comes from suppression. My friend coined the name. Is that what you say? Coined the name.
Coined the term.
Coined the term Joker mode, for example, for like Batman, like Heath Ledger when he goes crazy.
Like Batman. Yeah, they get it.
Joker mode, like Batman. And I laugh and laugh and laugh into the point of like hysterical tears, and I have to calm down. And it starts with sweaty palms, and I've got sweaty palms right now, and I'm laughing a bit manically. So you might see it.
You'll know when you see it.
When you see it, you'll shipwrecks. Anyway,
it's just nice when you have fleeting moments like that with strangers, because it really brightened up my day, and it's just something to look back on, and just to like, I now look back on that day as that. Like those things that happened to me, which is so nice.
That's really nice.
But also it made me think like, damn, I hate my life. I wish I wasn't that sad.
As soon as they walked off, I was like, oh my God, Alicia, that's really gorgeous. And she was like, I hate my life. I was like, that's not the point of what's just happened.
No, I know, but it's just like I was feeling so frustrated with my life being a series of misfortunate events. And I was just like, I hate that I'm sad enough that a stranger has to come over to me and try and cheer me up. And like, I hate that that's the like pessimistic mindset that I was in at the time, because like that is such a horrible way to look at what happened. But like, I think that's just what like grief really teaches like you to, you know, hate everything. And like, you really have to unlearn that anger and hating everything.
What do you mean, like having something happen and just seeing the bad in it?
Yeah.
Instantly, yeah. I hear that.
People trying to cheer you up and like doing nice things and being like, I wish that I wasn't so sad in the first place that they have to cheer me up. Or like, I wish that I didn't have to hear things like, you're going to be okay, or
yeah, I remember saying
like
that to you, like everything will be okay, and you got more upset because you're like, how many more times in my life am I going to have to be told that?
Yeah.
And that's so fair. But like, I feel like once this is going to sound negative and sad, but like once you experience your first grief, like it completely changes you as a person and your entire outlook on everything.
No, yeah, you are right. And also I was talking to my friend's auntie about how I now measure time in before and after grief. And like
interesting.
How like I don't even, they feel like two completely separate timelines.
Yeah.
And like how I measure my time, basically my emotions, based off of before and after grief. And it's like, I now look into the future and I'm like, I wish that I could be before grief. And like, I measure like when things happened, like, oh, was that before or after grief?
Yeah. And also I do that, and I've just realized that it's like, I don't even think about the grief.
No.
Like, I don't think about, oh, before that day when we lost them. It's more like, oh, when I was happy.
Yeah.
Like,
it was
before
like,
I had mental health problems.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, was I stable? Like that sort of comparison.
It's not like, I don't think about like, oh, before we lost them, but it's just like, oh, when I was happy. Like, I think about like a thing and I'm like, was I depressed at that point?
Yeah.
No, it must have been 2016.
It must have been before.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's crazy. Is Dancing Queen playing right now? No.
That was close.
That was a close one.
That was a close funeral trigger song. Talking of funeral trigger songs, someone might have gone on a lovely family holiday and they might be enjoying a lovely bit of karaoke. And this person might get triggered by a certain song and comes on. It's me. This happened to me the other day.
Oh my God, I can't.
Comes
I'm
on
so glad
in
I wasn't there.
karaoke. So I was like, oh, I'll take myself out. Walked out.
Did you?
Yeah. And it was playing in the lobby, someone on like live, the same song. At least you wanted to pick Zayn Malik.
It was a moment I don't want to go back to. I remember you didn't take the joke at all, but
Was it a joke?
I don't know. But we were choosing funeral songs for Mum, weren't we? And I said, "What about Zayn Malik? I don't want to live forever." And you just burst into tears. And I thought, should we make a podcast? No, it was terrible.
Oh my God. I've just remembered my friend, not that he's alive, he said to me the other day to compare me to someone. He was like telling me about his friend, and he was like, yeah, she's a bit like you. Not stupid, but like her mum's dead. And I was like,
that doesn't make her like you.
It does, to be fair. She's not stupid, but her mum's dead, so she's like me.
Dead.
Aww, that's nice. And you know what else I've realised as well? Like, a lot of people say to me, like, oh, like, you'd really get along with this person, or like, oh, you'd love him. And it almost always is because they're like crazy, like really crazy, or have got a dead parent.
Yeah.
I'd love them because their parent's dead. Probably, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
It makes sense.
Absolutely is the logic. But also, no.
I do usually love people more if their parents are dead.
Oh, I love them more, yeah.
Because it's like a shared understanding.
It's like, yes, get in.
Get in.
Love it. When I meet someone new and I know their parents are dead, it's like, yes, love that for me.
Yeah, I love that. And I also have had a few times, I think I've said it before, like you meet someone and you love them and you connect really quickly, and then you realise they've got a dead parent, and you're like, makes sense. Yeah. It's like a similar wavelength.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it in your eyes.
I can see it in your eyes.
I had a thought yesterday.
Oh dear. Dangerous.
Yeah. You never know, do you?
No,
but
not with them socks on.
It doesn't really make any sense, but I don't know if you could make some sense of it for me.
Well, I'll give it my best shot, Alicia.
So I just wrote loads of stuff down, and it's basically I've been chatting to Dad before I fall asleep recently. Oh, and I just love that.
That's really nice.
It's like yesterday I had that feeling of like, oh my God, I feel like warm, and I feel like I'm talking to someone that just fully understands me, and I'm like, obviously he's my parent.
Oh my God, that's so nice.
It's almost as if it was something that I'd forgotten, because like, I think now that I just assume as soon as you turn an adult, you don't have parents anymore. I just was like, oh, I can feel that. Like I literally can feel that still.
That's probably because like you turned into an adult after grief.
Yeah.
So like you transitioned from a child into an adult after grief.
Yeah. So I completely...
So you forgot that you can depend on an adult.
Yeah.
And also I do think that probably happens a lot. I've heard other people talk about it, is like the parent that's still alive, obviously when grief happens, you lose one parent, like there is obviously a strain that's going to be put on the other parent. There's kind of a pressure on them to be able to provide both sides, or like, this isn't everyone's experience obviously, but for us, like, it is weird because the dynamic obviously is completely different. And like, it's nice that we've got to a point now where we can have the warmth of a parent, even though it's only one.
Yeah. But it's just weird that like, when you lose someone when you're young, you grow up just thinking like, oh, that's normal. Like you forget that that's not normal, and you forget that like, not everyone goes through that. And like, I just feel like I say so many times like, oh, it's because I'm an adult now, but it's not. It's a grief thing. And it's like, it's like, oh, I feel lonely, and like I don't talk to my parents about my problems. Oh, it's because I'm an adult.
Yeah.
But it's not because I'm an adult.
It's not because you're an adult. It's because the relationships was strained because of grief.
Innit? But then I hear people be like, oh my God, I talk to my parents about everything. Or like, oh my God, me and Mum are like best friends and we like do everything together. And I'm like, no, yeah. Even as adults, you are still best friends.
Yeah, you still have that. And that's what, like, it's hard when you realise that's what we could have. That's what you could have won.
Yeah, that's what you could have won.
That's what you could have won.
But I also feel that we are really lucky in the sense of like, grief for us only benefited our relationship with the remaining parent. And like, 100%. I think we're really lucky for that, because like, there's a lot of people who it strains, or it gets sour, or it's just too much to handle. And like, I think that we are really, really lucky to have a parent that we can lean on still. So much.
So true. But obviously in other aspects, like...
Yeah, I don't feel lucky.
No. I mean, like, we've lost a lot of relationships due to
Yeah.
grief too. Like the one with our dad has stayed. This may be TMI, but like has stayed like solid and getting better as ever. But like there has been relationships that we've lost in our life with family because of grief, and like that's obviously really sad. But I do think like whatever you need to get through your grief,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that has to be a permanent decision, like to like drift away from someone that's, you know, maybe not right for you at that moment. And that's also being an adult, like realizing who is good for you to have around and who isn't.
But I think that's so hard to do when you grieve. Like, I really struggle with that because of grief.
But because you don't want to lose anyone else.
Well, I don't want to lose anyone, but also I don't know I feel like my perception of what I deserve is completely skewed. And like I can hear it from other people, but like I feel like grief is completely like, when the world treats you so badly, it's hard to remember that like you still deserve good things.
Yeah.
And like it is hard because obviously I try and be a really, really positive person that has a really positive outlook on life, but like when you grieve, it's really hard to do that. And like you can't, like, why should I view the world so nicely when I don't think of it as that.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think of the world as a nice place to be.
I think it's just about finding a balance that actually helps you live. Like,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to be angry at the world and that's completely normal, but like you don't really have another choice other than to find a bit of positivity or a bit of optimism, because otherwise you won't have any drive to keep going.
Yeah.
Like you have to believe that, you know, you won't feel this heavy forever, and you have to believe that, like, even though you've lost people that mean a lot to you, like there's a whole life that you have ahead of you that you don't know who you're going to meet. Like more faces, more people, more love. But like, it's really hard to see that sometimes.
It is. And it's also hard to like be excited for the future because you are so existential. And like, I find that it's hard to be excited for the future because I learned existentialism as a child, which is just something that you should never learn.
Yeah.
Like you should never know that people are going to die and that the world's going to end when you're a child, and like you shouldn't feel that firsthand.
Yeah, the fear.
And like the fear of it is like something that's like, how can we be so excited for our futures when it's just
Could get snatched
losing
away.
so many people, more people, because we're going to get old.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like, I've been through grief as a child, so I couldn't even have that childhood of like imagination and happiness and contentment, because like that you should have as a child. I'm just now scared when I'm an adult because the likeliness of losing people is even higher.
Yeah.
When I've already lost people that are young and that when I was young. So it's just really hard. Like, sorry.
I think that also comes in like waves though. Like some days I feel like, oh my God, like fear everything, fear losing everyone. And then other days I have like kind of a switch. It's like, fuck it. Like we're all going to die.
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Let's have fun. Let's just go out and enjoy ourselves and like live life to the fullest. Like I want to touch that and I want to do that and I want to jump in that lake and I want to hug that tree, like all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with trees at the moment.
I know.
I said to Isabel in the park the other day, I was like, one thing about getting older is that you really start to appreciate trees.
I know.
And I think it's true. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just love life.
Well, I had a realization.
love
I love life. I had a realization about the trees.
Go on then, hippy dippy shit.
You just said I love trees.
What?
I had a realization that like, if anything goes wrong, like the trees are still going to be here.
I know what you mean. The sun's still going to rise.
Yep. And like, the postman's
trees are
still
still
going to
gonna
come.
grow.
He's going to knock on your door when you're grieving. You're going to be like, what the fuck? The postman still comes.
Yeah, 100%.
But he still comes. And the thing is about the trees is like, when I go through something bad, because of grief, it's like I can feel the world like actually falling to the ground.
Yeah.
Around me. Like, it's like the buildings are
Catastrophizing.
completely like crumbling to the
Yeah.
ground. And then like I was feeling that, but I was on the tram and I saw the trees and I was like, even if anything gets worse or I go through worse things than I've been through now, these trees aren't actually going to fall down.
That's really, really nice.
And that was really nice.
That is nice.
So the thing is about trees, they are great.
Maybe that's why I love trees so much at the moment, because I'm griefing.
Because you're griefing. Anyone else love
hard.
trees?
Love trees. Talking about trees, finding comfort in like things like that, what you just said, like no matter how weird it sounds to say out loud, like I actually believe that like finding comfort in anything when you're grieving, no matter what it is like so fine.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not real, even if it doesn't actually mean that, like for example, like every time a ladybird comes and lands on me or Alicia, or we see a dragonfly, we're like, oh, there's Mum, or oh, there's Eliza, or like when something happens in a certain way, it's like, that was them. Like telling yourself those things, like I don't think people who aren't grieving realize, like you're just like so desperate that you're trying to get obviously like any little message.
Yeah, we don't really believe it either.
We're not spiritual, but like I do believe it now, because I also find like whatever you want to believe to get you through it is fine. And like if you're surrounding yourself, like it's so gorgeous being surrounded with people who are like, oh, like, or they say it as well, like, oh, there's your mum, or like send you a picture of us, like a ladybird or something, or like, and that's gorgeous. And that's what we've had on the page a lot, like people doing that. And it's so nice. But like, it's really annoying when people obviously don't get that, who aren't grieving, like they don't understand the symbolism.
Yeah, because it's like, the way that I see it is like, that ain't you. Like, I know that ain't you, but I like what it symbolizes. And like, to me, it's like, it's not her physically, but it's like a reminder to be like, oh, she's still here.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it symbolizes to me, like the fact that I can still think about them. And like, there are going to be moments where I can look at things and remember them. Mm-hmm. And like, that's the thing that I don't think people that don't grieve understand, is like, we still know things. Like, we still know that like, that's not actually her. Or like,
although the ladybirds might not be her, and the dead ladybird I saw, we'll just forget about that one.
That could have been her.
What was her was when you were crying again in the cafe in the park, and that bird came up to us, hopped up and was like that.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the same bird, or the exact same, looked
The same bird.
same bird, on Christmas Day, which is a really hard day for us, did the same thing, like stared at us for ages.
Oh my God, yeah, it was a robin in a hedge.
Yeah, robin in a hedge times 2.
I was crying at work the other day. Love doing that at the moment.
She cries everywhere.
I really have no shame wailing in public, like full on, like wailing my arms. Like, yeah, I have no shame in that. But I was crying at work the other day and a dragonfly landed on my table, and I was thinking, I don't work near water at all, and stayed there on the table for minutes until I stopped crying.
Wow.
I don't know, but she also used to work there too, so it's like, it's just weird. Like, for me, it was like, oh yeah, like I am still the person I was when you were alive, and like yeah, it's just a reminder.
It's nice to remember that, because I think tying back to what you said at the beginning of like, we're two different people with two different lives, like before grief and now. But like, I kind of been feeling recently like it's weird that they don't know me. They don't know me now, obviously, because they're not here, but like they don't know what losing them, how that turned me into who I am now. Does that make sense? So like,
yeah.
They don't know,
That makes
because like
sense.
if they were still here, I wouldn't be who I was now.
Yeah.
So like that completely changed me, but like they would have never known that person. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making complete sense.
It's so hard to explain, and I
You
feel
are
like
making
people who
complete
grieve will
sense.
get it,
Yeah.
but people who don't will be like, she is fucking mental.
No, but it's so true. Like, you are so proud of the person that you are today, because of what you've been through.
Yeah.
But like, it's as if they didn't die, you wouldn't be that kind of proud.
Yeah.
And like,
I wouldn't be this person.
that's I think that is just like being proud of yourself. And like,
Is that being proud of yourself? Wow, that's nice.
yeah, I think that is just you being like, oh, I can see the good parts in the shit. I think that is you just being like, yeah, you guys aren't here anymore, fucked off, but I have grown so much. That is what I heard.
Yeah,
Which is nice.
that is nice.
I had a realization the other day,
Uh-oh.
which made me feel sick.
Oh, God.
But I don't need to say it if you don't want me to.
Well, it depends how bad, might as well.
It's pretty bad.
What, PG?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
just
PG.
bad for you, really.
Hit me. How bad is it?
It's just weird. Just age is weird. And like, I'm older than Fran and Eliza,
Wow.
and that's weird.
Fucking hell, yeah. That's weird. That's really weird. I think it's going to be really weird when we're older than Mum.
I know. Yeah, that's yeah. But like,
That's mad that you're older than Fran.
yeah, the Eliza, like,
So Fran was my best friend
yeah.
who was always like, in my head, it's like, me and Fran were like adults compared to you because you
Yeah.
were just a kid.
Yeah.
And now you're older than her.
I know. And that's what's weird. But like with Eliza, she was only a year older than me, 2 years older than me. So it's a bit different, but like, because she was my friend. So like, age didn't matter between me and Eliza. But like, with you and Fran, you're my big sister. She is my big sister. So like, I see you two as like, obviously so much older than me.
Yeah.
So for me to now be older than her is really strange.
When did you remember that? Realize that?
Me and Isabel were talking about her the other day, and she asked like, oh, like how old was she? And I said, I'm older than her. And how weird is that? And like, it's just so weird. Like, I think when you realize that time is passing when you're grieving, it's just always a weird thing.
Yeah, I find it strange that it's like for them time's stopped, like their time stopped, and ours just carries on.
I know, it makes me feel
and
sick.
on and on and on. And that also, like, when you said earlier about the postman, like, it is the weirdest thing ever to be in the grief bubble or like in the numbness of the grief at the beginning, and then like something happens that reminds you like the world's still going, like you said, the fucking letters hitting the floor. The post box, the postman.
Yeah.
The policeman.
Policeman.
Postman.
Too real.
Yeah.
Thing is, I also have that kind of realization when like I look at people and I'm like, you could be having the worst day of your life or you could be having the best day of your life, and like so many things go on every single day for so many people, and it's just like grief has really opened my eyes to like the fact that things happen to people. Yeah. And like you never know
what's going to happen.
Yeah, what's going to happen or what people have been through, and like you honestly never know. And it just be crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. It is. But that's why you got to treat everyone with a bit of kindness.
Yeah.
Treat everyone with a bit of kindness, a bit of sensitivity. Don't be saying stupid things.
Don't say stupid stuff.
Like you told me that story about at work the other day.
I was sat outside with someone and they were like, we were talking about mums. It's like, oh, why was I don't know.
Why was I present?
Why was I there? And they were like, how old's your mum then? And I was like, oh, she passed away. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, why did you do it? And then like they didn't laugh, and I was like,
they didn't laugh.
That was a joke. Please laugh in my face. Please laugh in my face. But the thing is, even if I know that that's not going to be received as a joke, I love chucking that out because I love making people feel that even a little bit uncomfortable, because it's like that's one thing I have. I feel like that's completely sadistic, and it's not okay.
No, it is. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that, like using dark humor. But it is horrible when people don't laugh at your joke about your dead parent.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know if I would laugh if I was in their position.
I'd probably go.
You'd probably like.
I'd probably do all the things I hate.
Yeah, it's just same, because it's like as non-grieving people, you expect that grieving people want you to just constantly be kind to them, but
and
like
be sorry and be
and be sorry for them and sympathetic. But sometimes I'm just like, please laugh in my face.
Yeah.
Make me feel like it's.
But never make a joke unless I make a joke.
The rules are quite complicated, aren't they?
Yeah, guys, there's a lot to learn. I'd say if you are listening to this, trying to learn, we've probably given you quite a few confusing things, but I would say always just follow their lead in how they want to talk about them. Like, that's my advice that I always kind of give, is like, if I'm crying, obviously don't start making jokes. If I'm joking, don't start crying. Like, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it is hard to follow lead, but I do think like dark humor does help. And as long as you're like hopefully having normal conversations with them as well and getting like a bit of how they are sometimes, rather than just them just making horribly dark jokes all the time, then it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, just follow the griever's lead.
Follow the lead. And I think for me, it's like, if I give you a sign by bringing someone up, please take it. Yeah. And please follow up with questions.
And
because,
don't
like,
change the subject.
Yeah, don't change the subject. Because, like, for me, I really struggle with bringing up grief and being like, oh, yeah, this is a grief thing. Or, like, oh, I'm feeling this kind of way because of grief. So, like, I found that I sort of find other ways to make people ask. I don't know whether, like, if that makes sense. But, like, so for example, I'll say like, oh, that reminds me of like her, or like I'll be like, oh yeah, mum or Eliza, or they used to do this, And then that's me being like, let's talk about them for a little bit.
And it takes a lot of balls to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I learned how to do, like not to be scared of that.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of balls for someone to do that. So please, yeah, if they do ever bring up the person they've lost, chances are they would like to speak about them for a little while. Maybe it's not even, they might not be doing it like consciously, like subconsciously, like just for them to be able to so openly be like, oh yeah, my mum did this. Like that took a lot for me to get to. That took me years to get to be able to say my mum in a sentence.
Yeah.
And also like not saying about her in the the present tense. Like I did that for a long time. Like would speak about her as if she was still here, and even lie about that. So if you're doing that right now, you know you're not a freak. Grief is just weird, but yeah, it doesn't last forever. You just got to try and practice around people you feel safe around. Yeah. To start talking about them. Yeah. To make sure you're not suppressing, little bit at a time.
Yeah. Weird. Now that you're talking about like what you used to do in the past and what you do now, like I feel like in the past couple of months I've had a complete shift into acceptance. You know how they say like stages of grief? Like for the last 7 years I've been completely in denial.
Really?
For me it's not like completely in denial to the same extent as you. Like I didn't pretend she was alive ever. But for me it was like I was looking for her in everything that I didn't know that I was looking for her in. Like expecting to call in sick to work and for my manager to hug me and say, it's okay, let's do anything to make you feel better. And my therapist taught me that like the only person who it's socially acceptable for you to expect them to drop the world for you is your mum or your parent. And like, I was like, what? Really? And they were like, yeah, unfortunately, because you're an adult now.
Yeah.
And like,
you have like childish expectations.
Yeah.
Adult.
They taught me that like I was a 23-year-old person with a 16-year-old brain or like a child brain that got stunted and never got to adult life. Like I never had that transition period from post 16 to 18 where you learn how to be an adult, or 16 to 20 or 21. Like for me, that was just grief. So like I never transitioned into an adult. Yeah. And like I now grow up with childish expectations of adult relationships. And that for me was like, she was like, you're looking for your mum in your manager when you expect her to just tell you that everything's going to be okay. And like the same with like your relationships and like your friendships and blah, 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 blah. So like for me, that was like, oh, I've been looking for her this whole time. I've been looking for her. And like, that kind of made me realize like, oh yeah, you've got to move on, and you've got to try and alter your brain into like, we're going to get over this now, rather than looking for her in things and looking for that comfort, because I'm never going to have that comfort. And that's like, that was a real hard to swallow pill that I'd been running away from for 7 years. But then I got 2 weeks into therapy and she was like, swallow this pill.
Wow. Have you swallowed it?
I'm swallowing it.
Well done.
But it's just like, that for me was a shift. And I feel like I'm completely in a different part of grief. I don't know if anyone else that has gone through grief stages felt like a physical, like, okay, I'm in step 2. But I really do.
Well, stages of grief are an interesting concept anyway, because like, I've not really read that much about them, but I do know that obviously it's not linear. And like,
yeah, I mean, it is kind of set out linear, but it is not in reality.
You're getting it up.
Yeah, I want to look at it. So the thing is, they are in an order. Oh, acceptance is the last one.
Oh my God,
I've graduated.
I think there's obviously a lot of like complex learnings on the stages of grief, and like it's a lot more nuanced than it seems. But I wouldn't ever like anyone to get hooked on like, oh, I'm in this stage, oh, I'm in this stage, oh, I'm here, because it's so like, it can hit you out of the blue. It can come in the most random moments. Like the other day, I was putting my socks on and I just felt like I'd been absolutely like winded with like, oh my God, what the hell is this pain? And it was obviously just a grief burst.
Yeah.
Grief fart.
Yeah.
And then I farted it out, had a cry, and then I was okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, I think in thinking like, oh, I'm in this stage. To me, I'm quite a logical person. Like I like things in order. I have a disordered brain. But I think in saying like, I'm in this stage, then I'm in this stage, then I'm in this stage, you're kind of putting yourself at danger of being like well, when I don't feel like this, when I feel like I did a few months ago, you're at risk of being like, I'm going backwards, when you're actually not going backwards by feeling things that you haven't felt in a while.
Yeah.
You're not going backwards, so don't try and like put pressure on the fact that like you have to keep going and like gradually constantly be going upwards, because like you can't expect that of yourself.
Obviously there's going to be certain things that like it hits you harder. Like I can imagine when I have a baby, that grief journey is going to be completely different to be a mother to a child without a mother, as in like me not having one, or like, for example, on the birthdays of people you've lost, like it comes and hits you different times, and that's completely normal, and it doesn't mean you're going backwards, and it doesn't mean your progress is lost because you've had a bad grief day.
Yeah, true. And also, but that's really pissed me off.
Well, it's facts, baby. I'll tell you something. All you got to do is, grief is like being a fisherman. I thought of this the other day.
Huh?
Grief's like being a fisherman. You got to get your waders on.
What's that?
Your waders. Boots, and when they walk in the water with the big boots on to get through the water. So imagine grief is like, oh, the water's so heavy and you're moving through with your waders on. And then it gets a bit shallower, you can walk a bit more free. And then another day, a birthday comes. Oh shit, the water's harder to walk through.
Honestly sounds very relatable.
And then you're on the shore and you can relax for a bit. And then, Shark! But I hope you can understand what I mean by my fisherman analogy that I just made up.
I thought that was really good. I loved the actions.
Maybe analogies aren't my strong suit.
That necklace.
It's got to go.
Accessorizing isn't your strong suit either.
But yeah, I hope you guys found something in that episode.
Doubt it. I'm really pissed off. Can I talk about that, please? You keep shutting me down today. You keep shutting me the hell down today.
What the fuck did I do? What then? Talk
God.
then. Talk then.
Oh. So the thing is, I'm pissed off because I want it to everyone said day by day you'll get better, and like it just keeps getting fucking worse. And the thing is, it's worse because the further away I get from grief, the like scareder I am for bad things to happen. So the more I worry about bad things happening. Whereas when I was at the start of grief, I was like, I feel so crazy right now that I feel invincible and I could do anything. I feel manic as fuck and I could do absolutely everything. Literally like that. But now I'm like, oh, scared to do that.
Yeah.
And I just think like, I hate the fact that it doesn't keep getting better. Well, and it does. Like, obviously that's a very horrible way of looking at things. But like, day by day you get stronger and you learn things and you learn how to cope. And like, it can, seem to be getting better and better, and it can get better. But also like, I can't help but think about how hard like my wedding day is going to be and things like that. And it's just like, oh, I can't be arsed.
Yeah. But then that's not like, the person you've lost would never want you to dread something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to switch the way you think about it. Like, you can't not do things and carry on your life just because you've lost someone. Like, and that's how it feels at the time. It's like, how can I ever continue and have experience all these nice things because they're not even here? But I think with time, that sort of goes a bit, and you start to just be like, you learn yourself, like, love again, and you're like, oh no, I do deserve to have fun, and I do deserve to make memories, and like, yeah, all of that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I've been known to be quite a positive person sometimes. But
I've been known to be quite a positive person sometimes.
But this week I'm just not feeling it, and that is the reality of grief is that sometimes I can have a really positive outlook on life, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, blah, blah, blah. I'm learning so much about myself, and grief is an opportunity to blah, 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 and whatnot, and blah. But sometimes I just think, like, fucking hell. Which is, so excuse my pessimism this week.
No, I think it's good to be honest, and I think it's good to share how you're feeling, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Hardly ever.
Bring out that sun, please. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Hopefully our next episode will be a bit less confusing. I don't know if it was confusing. I feel confused, but I also feel confused. Quite lighter. I always do after sitting on this couch with chill.
Same.
Love ya.
Love ya.